Welcome, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Happy Thursday night here. I've got a lot of the team ambassadors for every NFL team for tonight's Fan to Fan training camp and news show. We're going to be talking about, guys, training camp updates, news, injuries, everything leading up to football. We are so close now. We're like, 2 weeks away? That is insane. We are almost there. I'm beyond excited. So we're going to start the show off with our lead writer, Matt. I'm going to go into split screen mode. We've got Norbcam first here. We want Matt. We don't want you, Norb, yet. We're not talking Seahawks yet. So we're going to bring in our lead writer here, Matt. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, Joe. How you doing, man?
Good. So you got some updates on training camp, any injuries, right? You got an injury report. We'll start off with that. Then we're going to go through all the ambassadors that are here present today. We've got Arizona Cardinals. We've got our Ravens ambassador. As you saw, our Seahawks guy who's really eager to get on. We've got everybody here for you. So let's start off with Matt, our lead writer. And if you guys aren't following yet, make sure you guys subscribe. Leave a thumbs up to this video. And of course, guys, fantofannetwork.com. Bookmark the page. And you can literally go to every single team and find the ambassadors. We got a fantasy page. We got a pro football draft page. Everything is there. Fantofannetwork.com. Sorry to interrupt, Matt. Let's go with the injuries and updates.
Not a problem. So today was a busy day in the NFL. We had a couple of big name players go down and some of them come back. Starting off with the Eagles, they lost offensive tackle Andre Dillard for the rest of the season with a torn bicep. The Bears announced that they had an injury to running back David Montgomery. Tests came back and expected him to miss 2 to 4 weeks with a groin injury. Cowboys tackle Mitch Hyatt left practice on a cart today. He too is expected to miss 2 to 4. Bengals running back Joe Mixon again did not practice today. He's been having some documented issues with migraines, so he missed today as well.
Hold on a second. I got to get sidelined here. I got a migraine. Now, listen, I did a post about that. Sorry to interrupt. And people are ripping me saying that migraines are extremely painful, which they are. I've had one before. But, I mean, isn't there pills for this, Matt? Like, can't you just take a couple extra strength Advils and you're good to go? I mean, do you really need to be sidelined for something like this? What do you say?
I've had a lot of battles with concussions and head injuries, so I definitely don't think there's something you should take lightly. But I've never had a migraine. I can't attest to how difficult it is to play with something like that. But again, we both know how much of a physical game football is, and any kind of bump to the head could really set him back even further.
Right.
So I think with the Bengals, it's more of a precautionary thing. I'm sure he'll be ready to go by the time the season starts. And a veteran player like Joe Mixon, there's really going to be nothing lost or gained throughout training camp. He kind of more or less is the running back that he is. And like I said, I feel like this is more of a precautionary thing, and I don't really see it making a large impact throughout training camp for the Bengals.
Well, I hope not, because a lot of people drafted him early. Now, I'm not sold on him. He's a top 10 fantasy guy. I think he's overrated. This guy peaked out at 8 touchdowns in 2018. I mean, what he did in pretty much 3 years, Derrick Henry did in 1 year last year. I'm not sold. I don't think this guy has any business being the top 10 on a suspect offense with Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow could be special. We don't know, but still early to tell. So is there anything else we need to know from training camp in regards to injuries or anything else you want to announce?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Lions backs DeAndre Swift and Bo Scarborough both did not practice again today. The Bills wide receiver Stephon Diggs did not practice today. He has a battle with lower back soreness. Some good news for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is that Chris Godwin practiced in full pads today, so he is back. One story I do want to touch on is we have some developments with Earl Thomas. It was reported that the Cowboys did inquire about him. He had a very documented stint with the Seahawks where he said to their head coach, "Come get me." It was reported by Ian Rappaport that the Cowboys did inquire about Earl, but they dismissed him and chose not to sign him. One of the possible landing spots for Thomas is speculated to be with the Cleveland Browns as they lost Grant DePleet. And MRI came back that he had confirmed a torn Achilles. So definitely an interesting story to watch there, and we'll have all the details as they develop here on Fan to Fan Network for sure.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. That's our lead writer, Matt. You can find him. You're on the Around the League page, right, at fantofannetwork.com.
Around the League, yep.
Around the League. Check them out there, guys. And let's move on here. So a lot of people already calling. Pause up. Let's get our guy here, Big Cat. Where's Big Cat, man? Do you want to jump?
I'm here. What's up?
What the heck are you? You're in total quarantine mode here. What's going on?
I gotta keep my social distance, even virtually. I gotta keep my social distance.
I think we're more than 6 feet apart here.
Right.
What's going on with Carolina? Is there anything that's reported from training camp? Is CMC returning punts? What is going on over there?
Well, I haven't seen any silly shit like that. But what I will tell you is this right here: the Carolina Panthers had their fan fest yesterday, and it was looking amazing. DJ Moore and Teddy Bridgewater connection is looking stronger than ever. Omar Bayless, undrafted free agent from University of Arkansas State. He went down with a knee injury, and they signed XFL superstar Cam Phillips. He's a possession receiver. It looks like he can come in and contribute pretty early. I think that was a good signing. Also, something to keep your eye on, the Carolina Panthers are starting four rookies on defense. That is Yetur Gross-Matos, Troy Pride Jr., Jeremy Chin, and Derek Brown. Something to keep your eye on with the Carolina Panthers. And also, Joey Slye had a better day kicking, 3 for 3 when it came to field goals. He had one block earlier in the week, so it's good to see him going strong. And last but not least, Teddy Bridgewater is looking like the leader that I expected him to be. He practiced all the way up until the lights were cut off on him, and 30 minutes up the players leaving. So good sign for the Carolina Panthers in their future.
Are people sleeping, and not only in fantasy, but I'm talking reality, are people sleeping on Teddy Bridgewater? Is he the real deal this year? I think he's going to be ultra accurate. I think he's going to be efficient. I think he's going to get the job done. I think there's something special there, and I think they start throwing the ball more this year. Is he going to be special this year, or do you think he's going to be a guy that just gets it done and, kind of like, yeah, he got it done. Let's move on. Let's find our franchise guy. What are your expectations of Bridgewater?
Absolutely, man. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to shock a lot of people this year. It's not necessarily about him, but it's about the receivers that we have. We have a track team, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm talking about 4-5, 4-4, 4-3 kind of receivers. Not only that, we got receivers that can break tackles. You like to drink yak, YAC? No, not Hennessy, not cognac, but yards at the catch. There's going to be plenty up there, and all we needed was a quarterback to get him the ball, get these receivers the ball, and we finally got one. Oh, one more quick update. Ian Thomas. A guy who we haven't seen much of, a guy who was in Greg Olsen's shadow, a guy who hasn't done much since been drafted. He is looking in top shape. I mean, this guy, we really can make some magic with Teddy Bridgewater. And Joe Brady, offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, came out in Fan Fest. They asked him, Kristen Balboni, the team reporter, asked him, how will this offense look under Joe Brady? He said it's going to be fast and fun. Look out, y'all.
I'm going to tell you, I'll be watching these guys. I really like, in Robbie Anderson's defense, he never really got to get going there with the Jets. Jets is not a good place. I think that's where careers are meant to die. Our Jets guy's not on today, so we could talk a lot of crap. I'll tell it right to his face, actually, but Jets don't even have a receiver now. They're in trouble, man. I don't even know. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, Carolina's an offense to watch. I'm excited, man. Thanks for the update. I appreciate it.
No doubt.
All right, let's move around here. Let's get, why don't we get Norb, since you were so eager to come on earlier? What's going on, Norb? Anything going on with the Seahawks right now?
Yeah. The Seahawks training camp, has been going well. They had their second mock game yesterday. And Chris Carson, who's actually missed most of training camp due to family deaths in the family. So it's been a rough year so far for him, but he did come back for that game and is looking very good.
Who did Carson, sorry to interrupt, who did Carson lose? He lost a family member?
I don't know exactly who, but he's lost multiple members in his family. I don't know the details as to who, what the relatives are, but it's been multiple.
Sorry to hear that, man.
So he's missed 9 of 11 practices, but he's back now. So far, so good. But in that mock game, the first one they had over the weekend, we had an injury to one of our linemen, so they kind of shut things down pretty quickly there. But this time things went well, no injuries to report. And, we had guys stepping up. DK Metcalf had a couple of receptions and a touchdown. And Marquise Blair, who is with our revamped secondary, some of our second-year guys are kind of trying to find their place right now because Jamal Adams, clearly he's going to be a starting safety. Quandre Diggs starting free safety. And then we've got Quentin Dunbar finally getting integrated into the program after his whole legal battle with that strange armed robbery case finally behind him. So he's now getting into the mix. And then Shaquille Griffin on the left side. That secondary is pretty solid, but there's a big question as to who's going to be playing the nickel corner. And Marquise Blair, second-year guy, stepping up, making a couple of interceptions yesterday, looking like the front runner to be the nickel corner. And then a surprise guy, a name that most people haven't been really listening to as far as the receiving core is concerned. Aaron Fuller, rookie out of the UW, my alma mater, had a nice diving touchdown in that mock game, one-handed reception, I believe. So kind of making a name in that, competing for that very deep wide receiving core. So we'll see if he can find a place on this team. But I think that the big news yesterday that was kind of the surprise was that Seattle brought back a couple of recently cut guys to come back to try out for Seattle. Paul Richardson, who they released a couple years ago, is back for a tryout.
Wow, I forgot about that guy. That guy.
Paul Richardson was just kind of floating out there. So Seattle's giving him a tryout to see if he wants to see if he can compete in that receiving group. But more importantly, Justin Britt, who we just cut earlier due to salary issues, he didn't find a place to go. So they brought him back in to compete for the center position, which unfortunately is not a good sign, which means the two guys who were competing, Ethan Posick and BJ Finney, apparently those guys are not really looking like the guys who need to get the job done. So they're going back to Justin Britt, kicked him to the curb and now taking him back and hopefully at a lower salary that they can afford, which I'm very excited about because Justin Britt has been one of the most solid offensive linemen. It was sad to see him go, but here he is back potentially to reclaim his position at center, which could be a welcome sight because center is probably one of the biggest question marks on the Seattle offensive line. So we'll see if he ends up securing that spot. But that's a big move, a bit of a surprise. But personally, for me, I'm glad to see him back. So probably the last one was there was a big, everyone's been watching everything that Jamal Adams has been doing. He's been lighting it up. He's getting in a quarterback. He's unblockable. He's making interceptions, getting in the backfield. But then he was wearing this mysterious wrap on his left hand. And everyone was wondering, what did he do to that? What kind of injury? Did he sprain it? Did he twist it? Did he jam it? Turns out he was cutting strawberries and sliced his finger. So he had to get stitches on that cut finger. Apparently, everything's fine. Just a little nick on the outside, but they had to cover that up, make sure it doesn't get any worse. So who knew that the one thing that would take Jamal Adams down was a batch of strawberries. But he's all good to go. No harm, no foul, other than some superficial wounds. But other than that, we're looking pretty good. Other than a kind of banged up defensive line right now, our defensive end, Daryl Taylor, rookie guy, was hoping to bring some pass rush to this line. He's not. He's been struggling with some injuries. Defensive tackle Poona Ford struggling with some injuries. So we're trying to get that defensive line healthy in time for that first game against Atlanta. But other than that, Seattle Seahawks looking pretty good.
I got a question for you. And then, guys, leave your questions because I am watching the Twitch feed. I will be answering your questions. This is Fan to Fan Network. We want to bring you guys in the forefront and get your questions asked. So if you have questions for the ambassadors, leave them on the Twitch and the YouTube, and we'll answer them. I have a quick question here. Carlos Hyde, how is he looking? Since, we said, Carson's been missing some time. Has Carlos Hyde been stepping up?
From what I've been hearing, he's been holding his own pretty well. With Chris Carson being gone, he's getting the majority of the reps. But the rookie running back, DJ Dallas, has been turning a lot of heads and really getting the attention of the team right now. So I think Carlos Hyde, DJ Dallas, pretty neck and neck on that number 2 spot unexpectedly. I think Carlos Hyde was the expected number 2 back while they're waiting for Rashad Penny to get back from the PUP. But DJ Dallas is making a name for himself here, competing for that spot. So I think it's pretty close right now as to who's going to be the number 2 or number 3 back. But Carlos Hyde definitely getting the bulk of the carries with Chris Carson's absence. But now that Carson's back, definitely the number 1 guy who's got that spot. But Carlos Hyde in a close second.
Before we let you go here, we've got a guy here. His name is Tyler Parcher on Twitch saying, that's my homie Norb. Say hi to him for me. Hi, Norb.
Tyler, what's up? Yeah, Tyler's been a good friend of mine and a good fan of my channel, so I'm glad to see him following us over here at FTFN because he's a good kid. So, Tyler, thanks for watching both my channel and to FTFN. But hey, man, before I know I took up my time.
You took up way too much time. I'm just joking.
I got one thing I got to mention if you don't mind. So it's still Seahawks related, but it's unfortunately some bad news. Mama Blue, the longtime original 12, who's been a diehard fan of the Seahawks, one of the biggest cheerleaders of the team. She's been there since the inception of the team, recently got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. That's the bad news. At 89 years old, it's going to be a battle for her. The good news is they caught it early enough that it can be operated on and they can do some treatment. So it's looking like there's a good chance she can fight through this. But we are, my charity, Fans for Good, is starting a fundraiser to help her with medical expenses. So if you're on Facebook, you can just look up the Mama Blue Fund. But if you're not a Facebook person, you can go to our website, our charity, which is a 501c3. So all your donations are tax deductible. Fansforgood.com, and that's FANZ, the number 4, good.com, fansforgood.com. So we've already raised $5,000 in less than 24 hours. We're trying to hit a goal of 25,000 to help her, because she doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't make a lot, she's just on a real fixed income. So it's going to be tough on her and the pocketbook. So we're trying to help her out so we can get her back onto the field, hit her 90th birthday, and hopefully get her out in the stadium once things open back up again. So
yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Mama Blue, we're all rooting for you.
So where do they go to donate money? It's Fans, FANZ 4, number 4, and then what's that? Fans.
Fansforgood.
Fansforgood.com. GOOD. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We wish her the well, man. Hopefully, road to recovery here.
Yep. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Let's go, man. All right, let's get on to the next person here. Who do we have in the ranks here? We've got Dose of Dion, man, a.k.a. Pat Mahomes. Are you starting to get annoyed at this Pat Mahomes thing?
No, I like it. You see, I trimmed up a little bit today, so it's a little bit cleaner now. Kind of rolling with it. So I guess for Lions news, kind of going off of what Matt said earlier about Swift, the injuries. The injury bug was huge today. I don't know if it was necessarily just veteran rest or if it was players actually injured. The Lions, they're kind of keeping a lot of guys out. But we had 3 of our tackles out today, so we only had really 1 healthy offensive tackle. We also saw, like you said, Bo Scarborough, DeAndre Swift, Hunter Bryant are all out. And then Deshaun Hand, Taylor Decker, and Trey Flowers were resting as well. So the participation report was rough today. On the field for the last couple of days, we've seen Okudah start to bounce back. He has a lot of high expectations. He started to do his thing. And he saw for the first time, which was, I think, yesterday, he took reps as the number 1 corner with Desmond Trufant. So that was the first time we've seen that all training camp. So it looks like the cornerback group may be coming together a little bit there. That's great to see. Jeffrey Okudah was definitely struggling earlier, a couple slips, things like that. Also this morning, the Lions went out and signed a defensive lineman, added some depth there. Kevin Wilkins, who is an undrafted free agent out of Rutgers, hasn't had much of an opportunity in the NFL, just bounced around some practice squads, but he's a young player and he brings the versatility Lions are looking for on that defensive line. And then really just the veterans, man. It's been all about the veterans. We've heard a lot of interviews and it's been all about the veterans, just, kind of pushing everybody, gelling everybody together. We know about, them coming together and stuff recently. So it's been really good. The environment's been great in the locker room. It's been a lot of team chemistry, something the Lions have been missing, especially last season. So yeah, some tough news on participation report. Hopefully nothing's too serious, but on the field, you can see everybody starting to gel. And next week and this weekend, the Lions are looking to start to ramp things up, potentially have some kind of scrimmages, things like that. So things should get more intense around there in Detroit.
All right. Last thing here, we've got Ravens guy. He's got to rush out here. He's got a family event. But I wanted to ask you here, Hockenson, will he be ready for week 1? What do you think? What do you think of Hockenson?
My bad. So TJ Hockenson. Yeah, I think he's going to be ready for week 1. I mean, he said he hasn't been 100%, but TJ Hawkinson's been out there every day. He's been dominant. He's been maybe the best player in training camp so far. Today was probably his worst day, a couple of drops, but I mean, they're calling him 2019 Hockenson in training camp. That's basically just all beefed up, working out with George Kittle in the offseason. The guy's been basically unguardable. So I don't know if that means our safeties are trash or if that means TJ Hawkinson's great. I'm going to go with the fact that TJ Hawkinson's great.
He's good. He was an early draft capital on him. I got people calling out the Dolphins guy, but we got to wait. We got to get the Ravens guy on here. Joe, do you want to jump on here, Ravens?
Yeah. So basically, we're just trying to, figure life out after Earl Thomas, basically. But the good news is that the defense had a pretty good day today. This was actually Lamar Jackson's first thrown interception.
What?
It was actually a tipped pass. Yeah, throughout training.
Well, he doesn't. The problem is he doesn't throw the ball, so he's like 1 for 1 right now, right?
Well, then stop the running game. Then you can worry about him throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, the defense had actually a very good day today. Malik Harrison was the one that actually intercepted the ball. Malik Harrison is a rookie linebacker that we got. And also J.K. Dobbins has been amazing, which I'm sure, you fantasy guys are going to love to hear. He's going to be a problem. He is going to be a problem for opposing defenses, I can tell you right now. But he did have his first fumble of training camp today.
Okay.
So, yeah, the defense really showed out today. They there's always battles going on. Who wins today, the offense or the defense, apparently in Ravens training camp. And today the defense won. So it's good to hear that even after Earl Thomas is gone, we can still, cause some pressure and get in people's faces, which I'm sure we're going to see a lot of this season. So,
all right. Well, I got to tell you, with Ingram being there, what do you think the split's going to be? Is Ingram still slated on the depth chart as the one right now?
I'd say so. It's probably safe to say that Ingram, at least in the beginning of the season, like maybe the first month or two, Ingram will probably be the guy that gets most of the carries. But I think that Dobbins is going to overtake that pretty quick. Just from all the hype and from what I've seen, I think that Dobbins will be the workhorse guy pretty soon here.
Pretty soon. Yeah, Ingram's not, he's going to be a locker room guy, like we were saying, right? He's just going to be a guy helping out. All right. Well, thanks a lot, man. You go to your family event. I know you got to go. I appreciate the update here, man. Thank you for
See y'all later.
Appreciate you. All right. All right, so let's get a lot of people calling out Dolphins guy, and let's get him on. Thanks. Oh, by the way, thanks for being on. I know we rushed you off there, Dosa Dion, our Lions guy. Let's get Doug Lee on, and then a lot of people calling out JT Sports, and then I don't know if Scott the Doc, we're gonna have him in the ranks there. If he has any news and notes at any injuries, to have him prepared for that. I know he's got something to talk about maybe for injuries, but let's get Doug here, and then followed by JT Sports. What's going on, Doug Lee? Do wrong. What's happening?
What's up?
What's up in Miami, man? Welcome to Miami.
Well,
like the song.
I'm in Jersey, but yeah.
What's happening, man?
Not much. Some moves happened today with the Miami Dolphins. So the Miami Dolphins had off of camp today. Today was their first day of the week. They had off. They have camp tomorrow, and they have a scrimmage Saturday in the stadium. But today, the Miami Dolphins ended up trading Kalen Ballage to the New York Jets for
I heard about this
7th round pick. And
yeah,
I didn't think that was going to happen because essentially they waived them yesterday. And then I guess the Jets were afraid that someone was going to come and grab him. So they traded him and Xavier Howard, a guy that when this dude is on the field, he is beyond dangerous, finally off the physically unable to perform list and off the COVID list. So he is cleared to practice. And we only have 2 more weeks before the start of the season. So this guy needs to hurry up and get it going. Him and Byron Jones is going to be a dynamic duo in that secondary.
Listen, I gotta tell you, the Dolphins here, man. I mean, what's going on? Sorry, with the Jets, our Jets guys in here. What's going on with Le'Veon Bell? I mean, is he just because he's boxing? They're like, okay, this guy might not be ready for to run the ball. He's boxing. We got to bring in another running back, and I don't get it.
That's a huge thing too, because they kept him out of practice supposedly because of a hamstring injury, but then Bell goes on Twitter saying he's fine. Then Adam Gase goes and trades for Kalen Ballage, who he drafted in 2018 with the 4th round pick. Starts to think that something's happening because he didn't want Bell from the jump, Adam Gase. So could there be a trade in the works? Could Bell be going to another team?
I heard this. This is a complete rumor from one of my listeners. I don't even know if it's true. I don't know if I read it anywhere. This is what I heard. Anybody chime in the comments if you heard the same thing. And if there's an ambassador, JT stepped away here, anyone else. I heard that Bell might end up on the Bears. Any chance? Is this a total rumor? Probably.
I haven't heard any.
I don't know.
But it's. I think it's a possibility. Any team could really go for him. Especially because then Cohen got injured, right?
No, it was Montgomery got hurt. But it's only 2 to 4 weeks. It could be quicker. The guy's a great athlete. I'm sure he'll bounce back quick. I think it's a total rumor. It's just one of those things you hear. A couple people mentioned it on my comments and in my DMs. Again, I'm just reading comments all day. That's something that came up on my screen. But I think a lot of people are saying that Freeman might end up on the Bears. Everyone kind of concerned now with Montgomery being hurt. But hopefully Montgomery is ready for week 1, and our Bears ambassador doesn't happen to be on tonight. But again, guys, every Sunday morning, kickoff right here. It's going to be huge. Fan to Fan Network is going to be the biggest thing that's ever happened to the internet for sports. Every Sunday morning for kickoff at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys are subscribed here and glued. So anyway, anything else with the Dolphins we need to be concerned about here, Doug?
The depth at wide receiver. At first, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I thought maybe some of these young guys would step up, but it seems like as of right now, the depth behind Grant, Parker, and Preston Williams is kind of questionable, and that's why you're not seeing a lot of sexy throws and big dazzling plays coming from Rosen and Tua, because they have these wide receivers that are having a hard time getting open, separating from the corners, running their routes. So hopefully, it's just because it's the first week of camp. That's why they were playing the way they were. But if Parker or Williams goes down, I don't know who else would play the boundary. So it's a big question there, and we'll see how it all pans out. I'm hoping we got about 6-7 more days of camp left. I'm hoping somebody steps up and shows that we have some depth at that wide receiver position.
I will be watching Miami's games this year. Let's put it that way. I've never thought I'd say this, but I will be watching. I don't think I must have been like really young when Marino was playing. So I'm really interested to see what happens. Maybe good things happen. All right. Thanks for the update here. I got somebody on Twitch here asking, where's the big dog? I'm looking for the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, conspicuous, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis. Somebody knows your handle here. Can you repeat what it's called? Chiseled, our Steelers guy. Where is he?
Okay, I'll correct it for him.
How does it go?
Diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual. The chiseled Adonis. It's a lot of words, a whole lot of adjectives, but when you say it, you got to say it right. It's like a Tribe Called Quest.
Actually, you know what? In his defense, this guy, Nathan, his name is Nathan Gymshark. I don't know if you know him. He's on Twitch, but I guess he actually had it right. I just said it wrong. That's all. So
there it is.
So it's actually my fault. So
dyslexia is no joke.
That's it. I'm dyslexic for sure. So listen, I got to ask you here because I'm really curious. All I want to know is about my guys, my boys, my men, my right-handed guys for fantasy, the guys I'm depending on. I think about them. I dream about them. I live them. I talk about them. I preach them. See, I've got my own saying now. I'm talking about Diontae Johnson, Claypool. Any updates on my guys?
All right, well, first and foremost, regarding Chase Claypool, from the OC, Randy Fichtner, he says he hasn't missed a snap yet. He's a great physical condition. He's intelligent, and his relationship between Ben is growing. So these guys, throughout every single practice, they're getting that sort of, they have that off-ball sort of situation where they're able to have the nonverbal sort of connection. Right. So Ben's looking over at Claypool. He's giving a head nod, and Claypool's able to identify what's going to happen before the snap even happens. So we're seeing some sort of relationship we haven't seen since Big Ben and Hines Ward.
Wow.
So I'm extremely, excited for how this is going to work out. And they're moving Claypool around as well. This guy's playing some snaps at the slot, which I never saw coming either.
Wow.
So, and he's catching footballs too. I don't think he's had a single drop in practices yet. So things are looking very good. As for Diontae Johnson, like I said this past Sunday, this is a guy who's going to have a season similar to Antonio Brown in his second year.
Wow.
This is a guy who's going to give you production on fourth down, on special teams, and then all over the field throughout snaps, or I should say downs number 1 through 3. He's going to show you production. So I'm extremely high on these guys. And Big Ben, he's not shying away from deep balls at all. All practices long, you've seen him go deep without having any fear of pain in his elbow. So I'm excited for what you're going to have going into this upcoming season.
I'm excited. Anything else we need to know? Injuries? Anything else reported? What's going on there?
Injury-wise, I think with Derek Watt, who's stepping into the frame, he's recovering from a surgery, so we're not too sure when we're going to see him on the field. From what I've heard is probably opening weekend, we'll see what's going on with him. And Anthony McFarland, he's in the concussion protocol right now, and Eric Ebron missed practice today. But I don't think it's anything serious. But outside of that, I think everything else is all right.
Okay, I appreciate you coming on, man. Really helps the channel. Steelers, we all want to know what's going on with them. A lot of fantasy relevance. And then one more thing, running back battle. Are we looking at who's the lead right now? Obviously Connor. Who's second right now? Is it Snell?
Right now, I think number 2 is probably going to be Snell.
Okay, that's what I'm hearing. All right, thanks a lot, Chiseled. I appreciate you, man. Let's move on here, and let's go to JT Sports because we jumped over, then we got to go to the doctor, and then we got Raiders in the queue. JT Sports, what is going on? We want to know what your team you're covering today, man.
So, man, I'm going to be covering, any team you get. I'll start with the Bengals because you were slandering my guy Joe Mixon.
It was Joe Burrow and Mixon with the migraine. Yeah, let's just talk Bengals with you today. What's going on with the Bengals?
Pretty much a lot of social justice talk and Joe Mixon being slandered by you about his migraine. Playing with a migraine, playing football for migraine, it's the worst feeling in the world. It's the hardest thing to do. I had to play in my high school state championship game a year ago with a migraine just because it was a state championship game. And it's the hardest thing to do because when you have a migraine, it's like your head, not only is it pounding, but also you have a hard time seeing. Your eyes kind of get a little bit blurry. And then if you get hit, it intensifies it it intensifies it more.
Right.
Playing with a migraine is extremely dangerous, and it's really hard to do so. With the Bengals, they really got to monitor that situation, because a migraine could easily turn into a concussion, which is something that happened to me. I started out for migraine, then I ended the game with a concussion because I got hit so much. So playing for migraine is really dangerous, and you got to be a really highly skilled football player to even be able to fight through the pain and concentrate. So playing with a migraine really isn't the more ideal thing to do. So I mean, I think it was a little unfair by you to be like that. So I mean, if I'm the Bengals, I'll let him sit back and rest and things like that. He doesn't really need to be on there anyway, because it's just training camp and the season's just a few days away.
Listen, just pop a couple extra strength Advils to get on the field. Doesn't help. You're telling me Advil's not going to help?
It helps after the game, but if you're popping Advils during the game and then you getting knocked in the head around, how's that going to help? Like a coach told me that before my state championship game. He said, "Man, you be all right, man. Just go ahead, pop a Tylenol, get on the field, man." I'm sitting here getting knocked around the field, and I didn't feel no better.
All right,
then I'm throwing up on the sideline.
All right, let's focus on the task at hand. Camp battles. With what's going on here? Who's leading? Is AJ Green hurt? Is he back on?
The thing with AJ Green is that AJ Green is going to be the number one wide receiver without a doubt. Even hurt or no hurt, he's going to be ready to go week 1. So when he's ready to go week 1, he's going to be their number one. Tyler Boyd, don't really know what's going to happen with Tyler Boyd. It's either he is going to start, but we don't know if he's going to start at slot or if he's going to start at outside. So it's either Tyler Boyd starts on the outside, and then John Ross or T. Higgins, somebody plays slot. But ideally, I think what they want to do, they want to put Tyler Boyd at the slot, or they want to move John Ross at the slot, or T. Higgins may be that 4th wide receiver on the outside, because Cincinnati's going to run a lot of 4 wide, 5 wide sets this year, along with having Joe Mixon out wide as well. So AJ Green is going to start. So it's just a battle of where they're going to put Tyler Boyd, outside or slot.
All right, thanks a lot. One more question. Joe Burrow, I think I asked you this before, but to people just listening, how good is Burrow looking in camp?
The last time the Cincinnati Bengals had a scrimmage, Joe Burrow was absolutely on fire. Like, he had 3 straight touchdown drives. He was the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I don't know, the Cincinnati Bengals secondary is just terrible. Like, their cornerbacks haven't really been that good. Mackenzie Alexander's dad has been missing for the last few days. He finally has been found in Florida. Family members are going to
That's
visit.
good.
So Joe Burrow has been really solid, and you're a fan of Joe Burrow, you'd like to see that, especially come from a rookie quarterback with this short off seasons. He's been really impressive so far.
I'm happy Mackenzie's dad was found. If you guys hadn't heard, he was out picking berries with somebody, went missing, and then Mackenzie was looking for him. And then, I don't know, there's a confrontation between somebody I think that may have went out with his dad. Mackenzie was arrested and then released on a certain amount of money. I don't know the whole story. But then the bottom line is Mackenzie's out of jail and the father was found. And I guess he was out there looking in, who knows what happened, right? I mean, he was probably looking for his dad. Got himself into some trouble. Who knows, right? But I'm just happy he's found. That's all that matters right now. So that's good. All right, JT, thanks a lot, man, for coming on. Okay, let's move on. Scott the Doc, I want to get you on real quickly here. Scott the Doc.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me all right?
Hey, what's going on, Scott? He looks after all our injuries for Fan to Fan Network. You can find him on the injury page on fantofannetwork.com. Scott, what is going on here? Any injuries you want to report, talk about? Any concerns? Maybe you want to talk about the Montgomery thing? I'm not sure what you have here for us today.
There's probably 3 real things I want to talk about that I've been getting a lot of hits on lately where people have been asking questions. The first thing, let's go over the migraines real quick, right? Migraines are different than normal headaches. Like, you can't just take your 2 Advil and be good to go. Migraines can take things like you have to sit in the dark, you have to sit in a quiet room. They can last anywhere from a couple hours to a couple days. They affect everybody very differently. So migraines aren't something to be messed with. And honestly, if it's training camp, you're better off just taking it,
sitting it out. Yeah.
Rushing the guy back. It's not really worth it. So migraines are the real deal. And JT did a great job explaining some of the symptoms and things that he went through and felt, and those are all very real. And like he said, it could turn into something worse. So we don't want to mess with that, especially if it's just training camp. The next thing I kind of want to talk about is non-contact injuries. right? Especially during training camp, when a guy goes down and it's non-contact, right away everybody thinks ACL injury, ACL rupture,
Right.
or a torn meniscus or a knee injury, right? So like, with non-contact injuries, we lucked out with the Montgomery thing, right? It was just a strain to the groin, 2 to 4 weeks, probably a grade 1 strain, nothing too serious. So, this training camp in particular, I don't want you guys to rush to judgment when you hear non-contact injury. There's just a lot of weird things going on. They're not at the normal camps. The turf isn't great. So normally a non-contact injury is a big deal. For this training camp, we have to kind of reserve our judgment and wait to see what's actually going on before we worry about season-ending injuries, And then finally, last but not least, same thing goes for hearing that so-and-so got carted off the field, or so-and-so, had to take a golf cart off the field, or, they had to bring the cart in to get him out. A lot of these camps, because they're not their normal camps, are not ideal setups. So the fields are really far away from the training facilities a lot of times. So a guy getting carted off, he would have been carted off no matter what the injury was, because it's so far away to walk all the way back, to the training facility to get him checked out. So same thing. If you're hearing about guys getting carted off the field, it's usually not too major.
Right.
It becomes major if they have to put the cast on, or, if they're putting the head and neck brace on, then we need to worry about it. But hearing that guys are getting carted off the field, not a big deal just yet. Again, wait and reserve judgment until we finally find out what the injury is, and then we can kind of talk about it after.
I got to interrupt for a second there. So what you're saying, because as soon as that happened, everyone is saying, oh, season's done, he's done, carted off. Everybody assumed the worst. But, I mean, it just makes more sense to cart him off anyway, because if it's a minor injury, which it is, I mean, you don't want to make it worse. You want to check, evaluate. You don't want twisting or slipping or anything like that, right? So it's smart to cart him off. So...
Exactly. And like I said, it's too far away from the training facility. Some of these makeshift practice facilities and fields are too far away to even try to hobble the guy all the way back. It's just, they're doing what they have to do now to kind of get through COVID and social distancing, and using the facilities that are not their normal practice facilities. Everybody's doing the best they can. And so there's different precautions now and different things that have to be done in order for these guys to, be taken care of. So, like I said, don't rush to judgment in this off season. It's a really weird off season. There's no preseason games or anything. So training camps are just a little bit different. They're a little bit odd. So, just don't rush to judgment. Let's wait and hear what the injury is, and then we can do some analysis after that.
You're going to be a huge asset to us throughout the season, because it's going to be huge with a lot of injuries happening. It happens every year, and we want to know what's going on. So anything else, Scott, you want to talk about, or is that pretty much it for today?
No, one last thing. I mean, I hate to mention this, but you guys are going to have to be ready and have depth in your fantasy lineups, because there are inevitably going to probably be COVID IRs. There's going to be guys that go out for 10 to 14 days due to COVID. So they're going to come out of nowhere. It's going to be, just a complete random, and it's going to be star players too. And what's worse, we talked about this in the Stafford Post a little while ago. They've had some problems with false positives. So guy doesn't really have it, but he's still got to sit out the 10 days, get his 2 or 3 negative tests, whatever it may be, and then he can return back. So depth is going to be huge this year.
And I already told everybody, make sure your commissioners, put an extra couple bench spots, IR spots on your rosters this year. Grab more depth on your teams, okay? So thanks, Scott the Doc. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move on here. Who do we got in the waiting here? Let's go with Ed Oliver from the Washington football team. And then we got to go to Big Cat, because a lot of people... Well, Ed, I apologize. Can I interrupt? Is Big Cat still here? Big Cat, are you still here?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay, can you just do something for the people? Because I keep getting, where's Big Cat? So this guy known 3 Point Godwin wants Big Cat. So can we maybe give him a pause up or something? Pause up!
Pause up! Pause!
Pause up! You got to extend it. You got to do it longer, right?
I'm here, y'all. I'm here. I'm in the green room.
He's in the green room. Everybody's asking about Big Cat. You seem to be a fan favorite. Pause up. Give me them 2 gloves. Another guy says here.
That's, right. That's them 2 gloves right here. 2 gloves. And I got 5 on it.
All right, yeah, I can see that, man. Thank you, I appreciate it. People love you. All right, sorry, Ed. It's going to be a tough act to follow for Ed because we got two extremes here. We got the most intense guy. We got our analytical guy, our smart guy. And I'm not saying Big Cat's not smart, but I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like, we got our crazy guy. We got our. Anyway, let's keep going here. I'm just as crazy as Big Cat. All right, let's go. Analytical guy, where are you? Ed.
Yeah. So. They actually, the Washington football team actually canceled practice today, or a scrimmage. It was supposed to be a scrimmage at FedEx Field.
Right.
But they had talks about social justice with Ron Rivera leading the talk. And they all got together and talked about that as a team. And then there's some other off the field things going on with the Dan Snyder. There was another Washington Post article, some graphic things with that. It looks like some people are trying to force him to sell. Some people think that Jeff Bezos is behind it. So there's been some allegations and the whole cheerleader scandal that happened back in 2018 and different things like that. So that's been getting a little crazy with Dan Snyder. But yeah, the social justice talk was good with Ron Rivera. Heard good things about that. Actually on the football field in the previous days, Bryce Love has looked really good.
Right.
He probably won't start. It will probably be Adrian Peterson, because he's the old veteran. But Bryce Love is playing really, really good in practice. He might start by week 8. We'll see about that. Chase Young has a hip flexor injury. He's been kind of in and out of practice, but he's been looking good when he's playing. Terry McLaurin's been looking really good. Dwayne Haskins has looked a lot better in practice this season. He had a really great pass to Terry McLaurin on a touchdown pass. It looked like they were back in Ohio State.
Wow.
Troy Apke, he's a safety. He's playing alongside Landon Collins. He looks like he might start. The Bama boys look good. Deron Payne looks good. Jonathan Allen looks good. There's another surprise wide receiver named Cam Sims. He might make the roster and might get some playing time. Reuben Foster, he's coming back from an injury. He's on the 3rd string right now, so we'll see if he'll get more playing time and start with the ones. But right now, Haskins is looking good. Alex Smith is working his way back, but I just don't think Alex Smith will play a snap this year at all.
Why is that? Why is that he wouldn't play one? Just not ready mentally, physically?
I think Dwayne Haskins is going to make the leap. I think Dwayne Haskins is going to win the job, and I think he's going to start this season. I think he's going to start all 16 games if he stays healthy. And I think Alex Smith is going to be more of a mentor. He's moving around a lot better, but you can still see it's obviously it's not going to be the same that he was back in 2018 after that injury. So, but I do think Alex Smith is going to suit up and be on the roster.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, Alex Smith, I'd like to see him take a couple snaps here. Hopefully Haskins steps up. I mean, he was drafted to be the franchise guy. I mean, what would be the issue with him? All this negative talk towards Haskins, is it an accuracy thing? Is it an overall talent thing? What do you think he's lacking to make him a tier 1 quarterback?
I think some of it was maturity. He did take the selfie last year, which is, he's a millennial or Generation Z, whatever you call it. So he's a young guy.
Right.
That's what young people do now. They take selfies, but you don't want to do it on the field. You want to take that last snap and then get off the field. But I think he's growing up. It's more of a mental thing, confidence. The last coach didn't believe in him. The last coach didn't even want to draft him. So Ron Rivera has been more confident in Dwayne Haskins. He's grown up a lot more. He's been in the playbook. He's lost 20 pounds. He's more mobile. So I think he's going to – and he has a great connection with Terry McLaurin. So I think him getting the ball to McLaurin and Steve Sims, I think he should at least get, 18, 20 to possibly 25 touchdowns this season.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I like McLaurin a lot. I was watching a lot of tape on him from last year, and even the balls wasn't anywhere near him, and he would just he finds a way to get to that ball and bring it in. So you got to give a lot of credit to McLaurin, who's playing with Haskins last year, and Haskins wasn't even to the shape maybe he is now, right? So imagine he was with a really elite quarterback, a Breeze or a Wilson or someone like that. Imagine how good McLaurin could be. Hopefully, for both their sake, they're connecting because I think there's a lot of talent there. So it'll be exciting to watch. Before I let you go, Gibson, how good is he? Does he play in the factor? Could he take a starting role eventually, or is he just always going to be like a Thompson kind of guy, like a third down guy?
I think he's going to be all over the field, and they love to compare him to Christian McCaffrey. So I don't think he's going to be. Of course, he's not going to be as good as Christian McCaffrey as a rookie or maybe in the near future. But he's going to be all around the field because he can catch, he can run out the backfield. He's very explosive, so he's going to be used a lot. I don't think he'll start, but he'll be playing receiver, running back. He'll be all over the field. And then last thing I'll say is I hate to see injuries, but Andre Dillard going down for the Eagles. We play them week 1.
Right.
Their offensive line is pretty shaky already. So now it looks like Chase Young or Kerrigan, one of those guys, might have a 3-sack game against Carson Wentz in week 1. It's looking bad for their offensive line.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, sir. Washington football team. There is the report. All right, let's get, I see Law Nation waiting there. He's ready to jump in. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. It's always a pleasure listening to you guys. And yeah, Scary Terry is somebody we're going to have to watch out for the Washington team. So he always bring a lot to the table when we play against him, and going into his second year, that's going to be fantastic for that particular team. But what you got for me?
So I just want to know what's going on, man. I want to know what is going on. Is there any news? Who's stepping up in camp? What's going on? The running back committee, is Pollard getting work? Fantasy relevance. What is going on? Is Gallup really the one, or is it still Amari Cooper? Volume distribution. Kind of what's going on? Any injuries we should be concerned about?
Well, both of our tackles are out. Left tackle, of course, Tyron Smith, and right tackle, La'el Collins. They are battling some issues there. So that's dangerous. We had a guy to have like at least 3 or 4 sacks today in practice, and Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions. But that's a good and a bad thing. You know, it shows that our defense is aggressive, and it's showing that we're throwing new things at Dak Prescott, because he normally don't throw interceptions during the season. So, and the guy that picked off the interception was a guy named Trayvon Diggs.
Right.
He's a ball hawk out there. So he's been the camp hero for so far.
All right. And I see some in the comments, people asking, how is CeeDee Lamb looking?
Oh man, we already got a name for him. It's called C Dangerous Lamb.
So he's good.
Yeah, so he's killing it out there. His release, his separation from the LOS is nice. He got good top speeds at the top of his route. He's creating separation. So either we got trash corners, or he's going to be world class out there.
Man, the only problem, again, I have with any of the wide receivers is the volume. You look at a guy like Amari Cooper last year, maxed out at 119 targets. How much can CeeDee Lamb actually see? Can he see 140 targets? No, probably not, right? Gallup is there.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right. So, well, we had nearly 1,000 receivers last year. If it wasn't for Randall Cobb, few drops that he led the team, second place in the team with drops, and if it wasn't for some crazy penalties, he would have had 1,000 receiving yards. So I'm thinking that we can still get 1,000 receiving yards from all our guys, and of course on the defensive side of the ball, my owner, the Jerry Wayne Jones, he's still trying to sell pipe dreams.
Right.
He's saying that Darian Thompson is the starting safety out there now, opposed for us going out there maybe looking at a Ryan Logan or the other guy, Earl Thomas.
All right. Well, thank you. I got one more question here. I see. Not a question, but a comment. I think CD is going to be the number 1 by the end of the year. Do you see that? Probably not, eh?
That still belongs to Amari Cooper. A lot of people think that Amari Cooper is soft or what have you, but when you look at the numbers, his numbers were very comparable to a DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins just had more receptions, but if you look at the total value, Amari Cooper had more yards and touchdowns than a DeAndre Hopkins. And, Hopkins is a dog, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Law. I appreciate you. It means the world to us. Cowboys update. Let's move on here. I got Spotlight Raiders, and we're going to move on to another great running back situation. We have Zeke, obviously. Now we've got Josh Jacobs. Now, what is going on, Darian?
What is going on? When it comes to the running back position, Josh Jacobs is still looking awesome out there. It's when it comes to other running backs, it's going to be a battle between Jalen Richard, Lynn Bowden Jr., and Theo Riddick. That's going to be the 3-headed monster. That's going to be that second and third down, or that second or third running back on the depth chart.
Right.
So that's going to be the battle, especially coming out of the backfield. We all know that Theo Riddick is a good receiver coming out of the backfield. So battling him with Jalen Richard and Lynn Bowden Jr. coming out of Kentucky, that is a great battle at the running back position. We all know that Josh Jacobs do want to be involved more in the passing game instead of just being a bulldog and just running downhill all the time. He wants to be involved in the passing game. As far as injuries go for the Raiders, our offensive line is fully healthy. Trent Brown did come back to the Raiders yesterday. It was an undisclosed injury. We didn't know what the injury was. We still don't know what the injury was, but he is back, and our offensive line is full strength, so that'll definitely help us out with our running backs. The word on Tyrell Williams, he's going to be out for a while with a torn labrum in his shoulder. He's going to be out. So Brian Edwards, the rookie, is taking those X receiver reps on the first team offense. So definitely in fantasy, if you did pick up Brian Edwards, if you didn't, keep a lookout for that because he's just as the same size as Tyrell Williams. And a lot of people remind him of the Michael Crabtree of 2016 with Derek Carr was that, in the running for MVP. So on the defensive side, it's not really many injuries on the defensive side, probably not many. It's just that some players are just not looking better than others. Like Carl Nassib is not standing out as far as the defensive line go, but we're loaded at the defensive line, knowing that we signed Chris Smith and former Tennessee Titan Sharif Finch. So they're going to be training camp bodies at the time. But as far as linebackers, we got former Chargers Kyle Emanuel. That's going to try to get that third linebacker spot in the starting job. But other than that, it's not really too many injuries on the Raiders side.
All right. Thank you very much for the update. We got to move a little bit quicker here. I love Josh Jacobs. I got a lot of fantasy stock in Josh Jacobs this year. And Edwards looking like a sleeper. Let's move on here. Why don't we go to Nick here? Nick from Nothing But Niners. Let's get a Niners update. All I hear in the news, now I'm not up on my Niners, but I will tell you, all I hear in the news, Nick, is constant injuries. Like, what is going on with your team?
Yeah, right now, I mean, the injury bug has hit us mainly in the receiver group. And, obviously Brandon Ayuk, who is a, first-round pick this year, with Deebo Samuel being out, was taking a lot more snaps in camp right now with Deebo being down, has been looking really, really good, though. Kyle Shanahan has spoke on him and said he's the smartest rookie and ahead of schedule more than any rookie he's ever had on a football team. So He's been in the playbook. He's been doing well. He had a mild strain to his hamstring. So he's week to week right now. And then George Kittle sat out practice on Wednesday sat out the last 30 minutes with a strain in his hamstring as well. He looks to be day-to-day right now. Kyle Juszczyk came out Wednesday suffered a hamstring strain as well. He is now listed week to week. Ross Dwelley, he had a foot issue. They didn't really technically say what it was. Ross Dwelley is actually the tight end behind George Kittle right now. He was, he's day-to-day. He's supposed to be coming back to practice tomorrow. Marcel Harris, one of our strong safeties, who now Jonathan Cyprian, we had brought onto the team, has been filling in for his slot position, his position behind Jaquiski Tart. He had a roll of his ankle. He seems to be coming back tomorrow, Friday. The team was supposed to practice today, but decided to do a walkthrough because of injuries to give the players a recovery day. Some of the guys just to get them amped up. Ross Reynolds, he was carted off on the 23rd. They thought that it was a season-ending injury, but it ended up being a bone bruise, so it looks like he'll be day-to-day as well. Richard Sherman had an ankle roll. He seemed to come right back to practice, so doesn't look to be anything big. Ben Garland, Ronald Blair III, Richie James Jr., and obviously Deebo Samuel. They're all hopeful to return week 1 right now. Ben Garland was an ankle who was filling in for Weston Richburg, who is our center, who's going to go on the PUP list. It looks like still recovering from a patellar tendon knee tear. So it looks like he'll be out for 6 weeks. And then Ben Garland goes down with an ankle injury. Now, Daniel Brunskill, who was competing for that right guard spot, along with Tom Compton, has slid over to center now, and he's taking center snaps as well. Daniel Brunskill, Tom Compton's filling in at guard. So, yeah, Joe, you're absolutely right, man. It's an injury-filled season. And, I was talking to my co-host and a couple of our partners here at Nothing But Niners, but, this reminds me a few years back with a lot of soft tissue injuries, right? And it seems as, people are like, oh, well, no training camps, no OTAs, it's expected, right? But to me, like, that haven't been out there that much. I feel that you need to stretch a little more. Your coaches need to make you stretch a little bit more with the heat.
Right.
Hydrate yourself more, because this is something that is preventable, right? These strains. Obviously something's going on there. Not quite too sure about that as to why all these muscle strains, but I mean, we have 5 guys down with muscle strains, right? So
right.
That's a big number. I could see if it's 1 or 2, but right now we got a lot of guys that are week to week. Obviously George Kittle had tightness, so they just pulled him precautionary reasons as well. And then that's pretty much it on the injury side. We have brought in a ton of receivers, right? So we just brought in Kevin White today. Craig, I always say Crawcraft, River Crawcraft, we signed as well. These are guys that we brought in here, Tavon Austin, JJ Nelson, all these guys. Kyle Shanahan said that he likes 11 wide receivers at camp.
Wow.
So this could be guys that fill in, obviously, for the roles of people that are going down. But, Kyle Shanahan also said that there's still an opportunity to make this team, right? So, look for the injuries to keep going up. But the star standout that has been surprising this year for 49ers fans is Dante Pettis, has been stepping up. You're hearing a lot about him in camp, going across the middle, being aggressive. He spoke the other day, and he said that, it was on him last year, right? So he was supposed to be that number 1 guy last year. Didn't even really play last year. He was pretty much benched, sat through the season. But he came out and he said he was dealing with some things emotionally, physically. He also took things that Kyle Shanahan said that, instead of stating that he believed in him, he took it the wrong way, the criticism, and it kind of got into his head. Seems like he's back in the groove now. So he's somebody that I would be excited to see take that extra step this is year 3 for him. So he's got to take that step up. And then obviously, like I said, Ayuk was filling in really, really good there until that injury. So hopefully we get him back week 1. Deebo Samuel, you asked me about this earlier.
Right.
Deebo Samuel was doing some running and routes on the sideline today, on the side field today. So that's a good sign for him with that Jones fracture. Hopefully he will be back for week 1.
All right. Well, thank you. We're gonna probably go over time here, guys. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it's a good thing, but for the guys that are here. So let's rapid fire some more, guys. Let's go with AZ Sports, man. We kind of leave you to the end. We're gonna start with you next time because we always leave you. Arizona. Let's go AZ. Let's kind of rapid fire. Quick update. Let's kind of keep it to a minute or two.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and try to keep it short and sweet here. So I know that there was some word out there that Kenyon Drake, had walking into with a boot.
Right.
He's fine. Don't worry about it. It's nothing to be worried about, especially the fantasy owners. Cliff Kingsbury himself said it was more precautionary. Nothing to really worry about that. BW Webb was a cornerback that we actually ended up getting in wake of the Robert Alford going down. He ended up getting released today, so he was only with us for like less than a week, maybe 2 or 3 days. Andy Isabella, wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, looking really good. His connection with Kyler Murray is looking dominant, so I'm super excited about what's going to happen for the future. And also wanted to let you guys know Budda Baker is now the highest paid safety in all of the NFL.
Wow.
Amazing sign-in for Budda Baker. 4-year extension, $59 million, and I believe it's $33.1 million guaranteed for Budda Baker.
Well, I guess he's earned it, right? So
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Amazing. But it's just going to open up a whole nother market for, the Jamal Adams out there. So it's amazing to see safeties getting paid.
Okay. And Kyler Murray, who is he gravitating the most to? Who's his number 1 other than Hopkins?
Maybe Larry Fitz. They're going to be the people that you're going to see a lot more connection with. Larry Fitz and DeAndre Hopkins for the time being, but don't be shocked that Christian Kirk maybe comes out, because I do think Larry Fitzgerald is going to be in the slot.
All right. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Let's go here to Ruben. What's going on, Ruben, with Houston?
Nothing much. The offense is looking good. David Johnson's looking good. A surprising training camp battles for the tight ends. All tight ends are doing actually very good. Jordan Thomas is surprising people. Akins is surprising people. And last year's 3rd round pick, Kahale Waring, the water polo tight end who didn't play last year, has been turning heads. He had 2 touchdowns yesterday. The Texans currently have a scrimmage right now, so I'm constantly getting updates on them. Jacob Martin, our edge rusher, who we got on that Clowney trade from Seattle last year, has put on 20 pounds and defensive coach Weaver said that he has been the most disruptive player since Cap. So no injuries there, thank God. but you know, everything's going as it should. You know, just waiting for Thursday night.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. David Johnson, though, how good does he look, honestly, in training camp? What have you heard about David Johnson?
So, so what we heard is that he looks motivated. That, you know, he told the whole team that he's going to be, you know, 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. He's making people look silly out there. He's catching everything that's in sight. Bill O'Brien has called him the best Texan in shape.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are very excited about what he can do. I've said it before, you know, we haven't had a running back, you know, with this skill set since Arian Foster, but David Johnson is turning a lot of heads and making the Texans very happy right now.
All right, thanks, Ruben. We got to move quickly this time. We're going to space it out a little bit more. I was asking a lot of questions. That's why that was the problem. All right, let's go here to Basarowski, Packers. What's going on, man?
I'll make it quick because I know we're running out of time here. So potential starting right tackle Rick Wagner is still out with injury. So Lane Taylor is playing at right guard and Billy Turner flipped out to right tackle. Lane Taylor is looking really good. He took a pay cut earlier in the year to prove that he could still be a starting guard. He's looking really good at right guard. Rookie 5th-round draft choice Kamal Martin, inside linebacker from Minnesota, looking really good as well. Should be a solid backup linebacker there, playing fast, sideline to sideline. Rashawn Gary looking a lot thinner. There's a lot of Rashawn Gary haters out there, but he's getting sacks or what would be sacks in practice. Jay Sternberger is looking like the tight end one, which is good. And last but not least, Aaron Rodgers had a quote that he looked back onto his 2010 tape and saw something and adjusted it. So supposedly since he's done that, he's been on absolute fire in practice and no one's been able to stop him. Rightfully so, it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he's stepping up into his throws more, using the middle of the field more, but I would hope it's that. And if he gets back to that form, watch out.
People are laughing. 2010. 10 years. I like him this year. I'm all in on Aaron Rodgers.
You can't just don't bet against Aaron Rodgers, man. There's no reason why you should ever bet against Aaron Rodgers.
All right, let's go to Broshmo here. Thank you very much, Basarowski. Appreciate it, man. There's your Packers update. You're up to date. All right, Broshmo, what team are you covering today, man? What's going on?
I'm going with Uncle Rico and the crew.
All right, let's hear
Jaguars.
Let's hear it. What's happening with the Jets?
Okay, well, he's looking great. He's connecting deep with Chark. Laviska Shenault, he's actually he's connected a few times on the intermediate, which is kind of good to hear because route running, that was one of his things coming out of college. He was very limited as far as his route tree. So I don't think they're going to use him much in the intermediate this season, but it's good to see that going on in practice. But I just loved hearing Gardner Minshew's doing well because I don't want them drafting a Trevor Lawrence, a Justin Fields, a Trey Lance. I like him a lot. I think they could do a lot of good things with him. He's a very accurate quarterback. He may not have the best arm, but he's a very, very accurate quarterback, very smart quarterback too. So, but he's been looking really good. The offensive line,
right.
You know, yeah. Cam Robinson continues to struggle, which is nothing new at this point. Juwan Taylor, though, he was struggling a little bit, but I think it's more so because what is it, Dwan Smoot? He's been looking like a monster in camp. Like they could get rid of Yannick Ngakoue right now.
Right.
And I don't think they really lose a step with Smoot. Like he looks that good. I think he's gonna keep Clavon Chaisson on the bench for a good part of the year. They probably will use him more as a situational pass rusher, bring him along a little bit slower. But yeah, from the secondary, Trey Hurdon, he's been looking good, but a lot of the times, or at least what I've seen, it's been mainly in man coverage, and they only ran man coverage 25% of the time last season.
Right.
And he's not a great zone corner, so I think they're going to struggle from the cornerback 2 position. So, yeah, I think the secondary is going to get roughed up this year. So,
what do you see their record being by the end of the season?
What I hope 9-7. What I see, I definitely could see this team winning at least 5 to 6 games.
Tough division, man. I'm telling you, it's a tough division.
It is, but they all division opponents, they play each other well. Colts guy's not in the chat anymore, right?
Did he leave?
I don't see the Colts being that much of a contender this year. So
yeah, we're gonna get the Colts
about that. The tight ends are gonna regress. I I think, well, not regress, but I don't think they're going to nearly play as well as they did down the stretch of the season. So I think there's going to be room for them to win at least 5 to 6 games. I think enough to get them out of that top 3 pick range.
All right. Well, thanks, Bro Schmo. We appreciate it, guys. You can catch him on, what are you, on the Around the League page, right? I know you're on the Pro Football page on fan2fannetwork.com.
Yeah, Pro Football draft page.
All right. Thank you, Bro Schmo. We're going to rapid fire here. Let's go with Philly take here. I got to see you in the waiting there, and then we're going to go to Denver, and then we got the Colts here. Colts, hopefully you can stick around, man. All right, let's go Denver. Oh, Denver has stepped away. What's going on? Where'd you go? We can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Quick update.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, quick update on the Broncos. Anything we need to know?
Yep. So the main 2 stories so far from Broncos training camp is that Jerry Jeudy and the Denver offense with Drew Lock has just been super explosive. They've been hitting. Noah Fant's been going off. Melvin Gordon's back to practice after suffering a rib injury. So the offense is clicking just nicely. Then the second big story has just been the injuries. They've had a lot of people go down with soft tissue injuries, which I don't think is too particular to the Broncos. I think it's happening to a lot of teams around the league. So we just lost our starting linebacker, Todd Davis, starting inside linebacker, for the first few weeks. It looks like he might miss the first couple weeks of the season. So we brought in former Steelers linebacker Mark Barone for a visit. And additionally, KJ Hamler is still recovering from his hamstring injury, and he looks like he's still got another week or so before he can get back to practice.
Big question. How is Drew Lock looking? That's the biggest question in the offseason with the Broncos, in my opinion. How good does he look?
I've heard Drew Lock has looked fantastic. He looks absolutely confident, which in my opinion is one of the most important qualities in a quarterback. He's hitting his wide receivers in stride. He's hitting his deep throws. And overall, the offense just looks very explosive. And, of course, he's leading that offense. So I'm very excited to see what he can do.
All right. Thanks for the update, man. Anything else? All right. Appreciate it. Let's move on to Philly take here. Did we talk to Philly yet?
Oh.
What's going on? What's happening in Philly? Miles Sanders. Is Miles Sanders good yet?
No, he's we are sitting him until week 1. Hopefully he will be ready to go. I think it's just a precaution, just holding him out for these next couple of weeks. So I think Sanders should be good. But overall, probably the biggest news of the day and in any camp is Andre Dillard, starting left tackle, going down with a season-ending injury, torn bicep. Not only is this 1, but now this is 2 starting linemen for the Philadelphia Eagles. Brandon Brooks got injured a few months back. He's gone for the year. So this is definitely a big blow. Good thing that we signed Jason Peters, though, as he'll probably transition back to left tackle. And one of these draft picks is going to have to step up on the offensive line.
All right, Carson Wentz looking good. The offense looking good. What's the number 1 wide receiver? Who's the number 1 wide receiver now?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, the number 1 wide receiver is between Djax and maybe even Jalen Reagor, first-round pick. A lot of these receivers, these draft picks are stepping up. Even John Hightower, Quez Watkins, even Darius Slay off the line. And one guy to not sleep on is J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. He had a terrible rookie year.
He did.
10 catches. He's come back. He has a different mental approach to the game, and he's just going up in coverage in the back of the end zone, tapping toes, just making unbelievable catches. Keep your eyes on him. I'm telling you, he's going to be that guy for when it's Alshon's time to get out, JJ will take over.
It's funny. I did a suck-a-so today, fantasy football players that suck, and I talked about how he sucks. So hopefully you're right. Maybe he steps it up this year, Arcega-Whiteside.
The only way to go from here is up, honestly.
That's it.
The only way.
All right. Who else do we got here? Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Ryan. I appreciate it, man. All right, let's move on here. Do you have anybody else that has not gone? Oh, our Colts guy. Let's get him on. Are you there still, Derek?
Yes, I am still here, Joe.
Man, you patiently waited. Save the best team for last. How about that?
Appreciate that, man. I know I got some definite news for you real quick that you're probably going to like from a fan perspective, but not from a fantasy perspective. So I'm sorry about that. You get the good news and the bad news today.
All right.
But anyway, Rivers, some quick news on Rivers. He has remained accurate throughout camp, has been throwing roughly 80% still in camp throughout that so far. So again, still looking good. Glad to see him still being accurate. Marlon Mack, I hate to say this, Joe, but he's still looking like running back number one.
No.
He had two rushes in the scrimmage we had earlier this week. He had 2 rushes of over 40 yards and a touchdown on one of them. So he is looking really good and making those big plays, man. Sorry to hear about that for Jonathan Taylor. But Marlon Mack, man, he's looking like the true number one, at least at this moment in time.
Wow.
But again, we could still see some things change. But anyway, other things, young wide receivers are balling out for that number 5 and number 6 spot. Darius Fountain and Desmond Patman, the rookie wide receiver that we drafted in the 6th round, both guys that are really balling out right now to try to take those 5th and 6th spots because Marcus Johnson has been hurt throughout training camp. He may lose his spot because of that. And a quick kicking battle thing here. I know we don't talk a lot about kickers, but you know, Adam Vinatieri's been the longtime kicker for the Indianapolis Colts. He's the GOAT of all kickers. Last year had an absolutely horrific year, cost us a lot of games. Well, you know, Chase McLaughlin and Rodrigo Blankenship, Hot Rod from Georgia, have been battling it out to see who's going to be the main guy. And Chase McLaughlin looks like he has won that position completely. Was perfect during the scrimmage. Rodrigo missed about half his kicks, so Chase looks like he's in prime position. Couple other small things. Tyquan Lewis has been the team camp MVP so far through the first 2 weeks. The defensive end from Ohio State, drafted in the 2nd round in 2018, has been the best player in camp so far. He's beaten Quentin Nelson multiple times in one-on-one drills in camp so far, has looked like a completely different player. I can't wait to see what he does. One more quick injury news. Ben Banogu rolled his ankle in the scrimmage. It was reported originally we were afraid that he might have tore something, but he was carted off on the sideline and still stayed out for the rest of the scrimmage. But apparently they just said he rolled his ankle. We haven't heard anything about ligament damage or anything. They think he might just be out for a week or two because it was a pretty bad sprain. But overall, really good news, especially for that defensive end position, because we're already down Kamoko Toure. So it's good that we still are not going to lose him for very long. One other quick thing, Xavier Rhodes and DeForest Buckner, the veterans on this defense that we've added, have done really good so far. Xavier Rhodes has had Michael Pittman on lockdown in practices so far. Apparently, when Xavier Rhodes is lined up in zone coverage on Pittman's side, Pittman has not caught a ball anywhere near Xavier Rhodes in camp so far. So I don't know how that really looks towards Pittman or more towards Rhodes, but either way, the veterans are getting into it.
That's interesting insight there. You got the veteran and the rookie. And yeah, I mean, this could actually be good for Pittman because if you got that type of experience protecting, you know, I mean, that you're training with the best. So I think that's really good. So Pittman is getting first team reps. He's getting a lot. He should be on the field all the time, right? I think.
Yeah, I still think, you know, receiver number 2, at least that's where we're at right now. He has had some good practices. All the local media guys have said, you know, outside of a few plays from Xavier Rhodes, Pittman has been making plays. He has been making catches. So far, nothing too bad to really talk about right now with him.
And you don't see Campbell or Pascal surpassing Pittman. Probably not, eh?
I don't know. At least not right now. Zach Pascal could do that. One other thing I guess I forgot to mention, Paris Campbell didn't practice yesterday. The Colts didn't practice today. They had those the days off. They were one of the few teams that took off to talk about social justice. But yesterday, he did not show up to practice because he was involved in a minor car accident. And supposedly he went into concussion protocol. They were making sure that he didn't have any severe head damage. So far, it sounds like he's okay. Nobody said anything really bad about him, but they obviously kept him out just to be safe. But man, Paris Campbell can't catch a break, man. It's even when he's healthy, something outside of football just seems to hold him down.
That's crazy. Yeah, it happens with some players, including Kevin White, who we just heard is going to get an opportunity this year. So yeah, thank you very much, man, for being on. That's your Colts update. And that's pretty much it, guys. That wraps it up here. Training camp news updates around the league. Make sure you guys are subscribed and go to fantofannetwork.com. I'm telling you guys, everything you need from the top ambassadors on YouTube. Thank you for being here. And get the 16-round draft solution. If you play fantasy football, it's draft season. Head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Get the 16-round draft solution and crush your leagues. What are you waiting for? Get off here and head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you. And every Sunday morning, kickoff, guys. Thursdays and Sundays right now is a schedule. We may be adding more shows. But Sunday morning, guys, kickoff 11 a.m. Eastern right here with Fan to Fan Network with our